corporations are making record profits, the highest that they have been in over 7 years, even as Americans are struggling. Despite receiving billions in taxpayer subsidies, every witness that we invited today from the oil and gas industry declined to answer to the American people. Shell pledged to spend $6 billion between 2017 and 2020 on renewable energy. How much of that did Shell actually spend? The answer is about half. Ms. Watkins, does this look like a huge undertaking to you? The oil and gas industry currently has more than 9,000 permits to drill for oil on federal land, but they are deliberately keeping production low to please their investors and increase their short-term profits. Even when the price of crude oil falls, oil and gas companies have refused to pass those savings on to consumers. Let me be clear. Price gouging is anti-capitalist. It exploits a lack of competition, which is a hallmark of capitalism. It is an effort to juice corporate profits at the expense of customers. Energy markets are reeling because of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Big oil companies, however, are using this temporary chaos to cover up their abuse. We've heard a lot about future plans for investment in renewable energy today. Ms. Watkins, Shell's 2020 annual report called for between $19 and $22 billion in near-term spending. I'm representing that with this container of M&Ms. Each M&M represents about $50 million in spending. Ms. Watkins, how much has Shell said it will spend in the near term on oil, gas, and chemical operations?
I think you just said we're going to be spending between $18 and $20 billion this year.
That's near term. On total spending, how much on oil, gas, and chemical operations? You said you're going to spend $16 to $17 billion for oil, gas, and chemical, with another $3 billion for marketing. Oil and gas companies were huge beneficiaries of coronavirus relief legislation. The industry received over $10 billion in direct aid, lobbied the Trump administration for access to the Main Street lending program, got it, and then raised another $100 billion in the bond market. Instead of using these funds to keep workers on payroll, the oil and gas industry cut 100,000 jobs and spent on stock dividends for shaky investors. Devon, for example, laid off 22% of its workers, got $220 million through various relief programs, bought a competitor, and paid shareholders $257 million in dividends. I invited Devon's CEO, who made $13.3 million last year, to discuss these decisions, but he declined. As a single working mom, I see the difference every time I fill up the tank for my minivan. I know that higher gas prices are painful for everyone in our country, and especially burdensome for families with limited transportation options and tight budgets. These higher gas prices are also pushing up the costs for small businesses and grocery stores, contributing to the higher prices that families are paying for everything from food to furniture. Orange County families need Congress to hold oil companies accountable when they use their market power to unfairly raise prices. These corporations are making record profits, the highest that they have been in over 7 years. How much is Shell spending to spend on renewable energy?
This year we'll be spending between $2 and $3 billion. $2
and $3 billion on renewables and energy solutions. In your testimony, you said, quote, meeting the demand for reliable energy while simultaneously addressing climate change is a huge undertaking and one of the defining challenges of our time. Shell has made these promises before. Shell pledged to spend $6 billion between 2017 and 2020 on renewable energy. How much of that did Shell actually spend? The answer is about half. Ms. Watkins, does this look like a huge undertaking to you? I came to Congress to fight for families no matter what special interests I have to stand up for. In my nearly 2 decades as a consumer advocate, I've seen the way that big banks prey on regular Americans to line their pockets. And I came to this committee with an open mind about the oil and gas industry. It's hard to do that, though, when companies get billions of dollars from taxpayers, but can't be bothered to testify in Congress about what they use that money for.